In today's tool tip, we'll review Find and Replace, a very handy tool that lets you replace old inventory with new SKUs you want to use instead. By selecting File, Catalogs, Element Manager, I'm going to the Element Manager, the master list of all the elements in my catalog. It is here that I can make mass changes to my catalog and update my existing inventory. For our example, I'm going to replace all instances of where I've used 6mm poly vapor barrier with a 4mm poly vapor barrier instead. First, I'm going to my parts list. Parts are elements that don't have a 3D representation, but that I need to order when I draw things like walls or floors or ceilings. In the parts category, I'm going to select the thermal and moisture folder. Here I find the poly vapor barrier options. I select the 6mm poly vapor barrier part and right-click to select Find and Replace. The Find and Replace dialog box appears. It will list all assemblies where I've used the 6mm poly vapor barrier, and therefore will appear in a material list. At the bottom of the dialog box, it gives the opportunity to replace it with something else. I select the button to the right. It pulls up a dialog box where I can select an alternative product to replace the 6mm poly. I select the 4mm poly vapor barrier and click OK. Now, in the Find and Replace dialog box, it lists at the bottom that I'll be replacing the 6mm poly with the 4mm poly vapor barrier. I select Replace All. A dialog box appears warning me that it will do the replace of the product and asks if I want to continue. I select Yes. It then hunts through the catalog and the assemblies of all the references of the 6mm poly and replaces it with the 4mm poly vapor barrier. When finished, a dialog box appears to tell me it was successful. Let's look at another example. I'm going to look at the walls in my catalog. When I select one, I'll review the trim associated to this wall. This wall uses 3/8" by 5" MDF S4S baseboard trim. But what if you no longer stock that trim and want to get it out of all of your wall descriptions? Each wall has two faces, and if you have several walls, this could be a timely procedure. So let's use Find and Replace. I scroll up to the trim category and look at the baseboards folder. Here I find the 3/8" by 5" MDF baseboard trim. I right-click and select Find and Replace. Now I see the long list of all the walls that trim was associated to. I select the Replace button to go to the catalog and select my alternative trim selection, and then click OK. I then select Replace All. It again warns me that I'm going to replace the trim in the walls with this new trim. I select Yes. They are all replaced, and the dialog box appears to tell me it is successful. Let's look at our walls to ensure it is done. I scroll down to my list of walls and select one, and then click on the Trim tab. Sure enough, I have my new trim. Find and Replace is an efficient tool to update SKUs in my catalog with new inventory or select new items. I hope that makes your work easier.